All right, so hey, Joe from Coding Box here, back with another QIT Dev Diary, and got a lot of friends on this time, and we'll go around real quick and do some introductions, starting with Aaron.
Hi, I'm Aaron, Mad Viking God on Slack.
Hi, I'm Ben, and I like to code too.
Logan. You can find me under Logan on Slack.
That was straightforward. I'm Nicolas. You can find me on the minimum viable person.
And hi, I'm Vladimir. I'm absolutely abysmal person on Slack.
All right, cool. And everyone here has contributed. We've been doing awesome things in the app. So we'll start off with just a real quick kind of overview over about what changed. And we didn't change nearly as much as the week before. I think things are kind of settling a little bit. But I think some of the bigger features are the sharing and the routing. You want to talk a little bit about that, Nicolas?
Yeah, sure. So this week I was focused on how do we make this so we can share it with other people, right? And the two main things were search. So now one thing we can do is we can actually we can still find stuff by searching normally, but if you look at the URL now, that's changing with it. And this last piece of the URL, what comes after search, is actually the search term. So we can search for anything, press enter, and it will actually take us to that page. So now we can see the results for awesome. And if I wanted to, I could just grab this link, pass it to somebody, and they would see the same search I'm looking at. So it makes it easy to share that. And another sharing feature that's not quite complete is a proof of concept, but we created was the Bitly, there you go. So we have QIT My Little Pony list there. And if I press enter on that, it will take us to the app. And this doesn't look like much, but what is actually going on is this whole playlist was reconstructed from data passed in the URL. So my goal for this one was to completely bypass databases and go as simplistic or minimalistic as possible and see if that would work and how far I could push it. And it turns out it works really well. And with routing, you can see if I click out, it goes back to the main page. But if I go back, it quickly goes back to the playlist that was shared with me. Once I'm here, everything works the same. You have the player. You can add things from the shared playlist. You can see who shared the playlist with you, the name of the playlist. We can add as much metadata as we want, really. And then we go back, and now that playlist is in our queue. We've queued that up. So it's not a lot of things, but I think pretty nice improvements in terms of being able to pass stuff around to other users. And that's quite nice.
And I really like it because I can now tweet at somebody, like if they were talking about, say, progressive web apps, I can send them a link and be like, hey, here you go. Great resources.
Absolutely. I think the missing link for this and for sharing is to create cards from links, right? So when we send the link, for example, on Facebook or Twitter, to have that card generated with the name of the search term or some results, etc. That would be amazing.
Oh yeah, very nice. And I haven't really tested much what happens like if someone sends you a link and you've already got a playlist. I guess we've still got to kind of iron out that core experience where like you come back to the app and you've got your playlist still there. So we'll have to kind of figure out how to kind of incorporate that, because it's like, do you want to add it into your main playlist or do you want to keep them separate?
Yeah, I have an idea for that. So as I was building this, I also saw picturing a way to manage playlists, right? And that would be a separate screen where you can see each playlist by name. You can, edit names. You can generate a link to share that with someone else. So that would be a whole new screen in the UI.
Oh, nice. And speaking of the UI, sorting. So Ben, you added sorting. It's really nice. You got an icon there. You want to talk a little bit about how that worked and how that didn't work?
Yeah. Well, this is a little bit of a user experience enhancement, because I know when I'm listening to podcasts, I'm like really weird about just like constantly resorting things. So I figure it'd be nice to be able to just like custom drag stuff. Initially, I used the Dragula library, and if you've never checked that out, just Google Dragula. It'll come up pretty quick. And I was pretty happy with it at first, but I really missed a big piece of the user experience, which is if you have like too many things on a page and it overlaps the page, you can't drag beyond the screen. You can only drag and drop within the screen. And so then we kind of went back to the drawing board, and I found a different, or actually I think it was Nicolas, I think you found the React sortable higher order component, and that turned out to be a lot nicer. And so I just re-implemented that, and now it's just really smooth experience. And if you have I don't know if you want to add a bunch of podcasts or a bunch of episodes to your screen so it overlaps the screen and you can show the drag and drop. You can sort well beyond the limits of the screen, and it's and also I think that library was just a little bit more touch friendly too for mobile devices. Not that I had huge complaints about Dragula with that regard, but a little more touch friendly.
Yeah, for sure. One thing that's it's kind of bothering me a little bit now is that we've got 3 icons there, and I've got big fingers. So I think I do like that push to top button, but it also kind of competes. So I don't know if there's room for both of those, and maybe it makes sense to move that remove button to the left. I don't know.
For sure. It is getting too cluttered, and my thinking was that the push to top was really the version 0.1 of sorting. And now that we have better sorting, it makes total sense to just get rid of that and keep a minimalistic UI, simple, intuitive.
I think it's better to have the remove button all the way to the right because it's more intuitive to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Somebody mentioned one of my colleagues, a QA guy that is testing the app for me every now and then. He said that it would be nice if we could delete things not by showing this, but more like an iOS thing where you could sort of drag to the side. And I said that would be awesome, but it would be even better if we could do that on mobiles and on desktops. You can still see a delete icon, right? Because that's how you usually do it in each platform. You don't slide to delete stuff on a desktop usually.
Is there a way to kind of do not a media query, but a device query that can help us sort that out?
I believe so.
Yes. I think React have that feature.
Yeah.
To watch, is it Android, is it iOS, and stuff like that.
Yeah, we can look into that. I'm sure there are ways.
Yeah, for sure. And that kind of brings us into the one more thing I wanted to mention. I had some proxy problems. So I originally thought the proxy was broken, so I spent a bunch of time, got something running up in Azure, only to realize that it wasn't actually the proxy, it was the particular URL I was using, and it had a redirect. And the way the proxy is set up right now, even when I pass and I tell it to follow redirects, it's not streaming that file over. So I don't know if it's a problem with the library or if I typoed something or something, but I think we're gonna have to do something about that proxy. But in the meantime, I went through all the podcasts, I went to all their hosting providers, and even if they don't have a HTTPS feed, I was able to find out that most of them do have HTTPS, you know what I'm saying, those kind of files. So I added a configuration because now the list of feeds is actually a JSON file, so you can add different parameters and treat feeds differently. So I was able to add a force HTTPS flag on there. So now every episode of every podcast that's in the list is now HTTPS. So actually the proxy shouldn't be used at all. But there are, I think, 3 shows total that I had to leave off the list because I wasn't able to get their files. So I just threw that in an issue for now. And since there's only 3, and I actually know 2 of them, I'm pen pals with them, I was going to go ahead and just bug those guys and see, if we could just eliminate that problem. Everyone should be going to HTTPS anyway, especially since Apple on May 31st, so a couple weeks ago, said, do it.
Yeah.
So,
do you know if we have a deadline for when they are going to stop allowing HTTP?
No, they said soon they were going to stop allowing submissions for HTTP, and even longer. So I would probably guess even a year or more. But with these being programmer podcasts, I think they're gonna get going on it.
They'll get Let's Encrypt going in no time, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that was good. And one other thing I wanted to bring up was we've got a lot of people. I think we're up to 8 contributors now. Is that right? And a lot more people that have been really active in it.
It is 7 because Ben is 2 times contributed.
I think if you click on I know we have it in the README, but if you click on the right there too, there's a list of actual the people who've.
Let's go back. Contributors.
Yeah, that one. So we're up to 8, and there's a lot of people that have a lot of different opinions too that haven't contributed or are still kind of working on stuff. So and all those are really valid opinions, and a lot of them kind of compete, especially when we're talking about like programmer type things like standards, like whether we want semicolons or not, or where should we put tests.
Definitely not.
Right. So I wanted to ask you guys like what you thought about like how to handle kind of differences of opinions. Like I've been trying to kind of vote, but I don't want things to drag down too much. So what do you guys think about how to handle that stuff?
I have an opinion, but I don't want to talk all the time, so I'll give the voice to someone.
I think it's using standards as one standard, to use it and to go with it, because it solves all that problems that are not developer words.
Yeah. Well, I said, Joe, you should definitely be the benevolent dictator for life, and we can be democratic, and we can have polls, and if the polls are tight, then you get to choose. But most of the time, polls will lean one way or the other, right? And then we can go the way of the people.
Yeah, and I like being able to tiebreak. Not that I want to be a tiebreaker, but just rather that we don't spend 2 weeks talking about whether it's tests or underscore tests. You know,
Yeah.
Because I know everyone has opinions on those, and they're like, that's the kind of stuff that like opinions are strong. So I guess we'll keep trying to do the poll thing. I think that's been working out. We tried that today, and see how it goes. And if something's real close, we'll just pick one and just go with it for now.
So just so that we don't lose the history of these polls, do we have somewhere that we can put these standards that we are developing either in the code base or like part of the wiki of the code?
Yes, we've got a wiki set up, and it's already way out of date, even though this project is only three weeks old. But I can absolutely put stuff like that in the wiki, so I'm going to take a note to do that today.
That's pretty standard for a wiki. the minute that you've written down the wiki, it's out of date. So
yep.
Don't feel bad.
That's another reason why people say comments are not reliable, right?
Yeah,
you write
exactly.
the comment, you change the code, and then the comment's lying.
So as far as what we said last time for what's coming up next, we said we're going to add show details where you can like click on a show and actually see like the full show notes and stuff, and kind of have a bigger version of that. I think we just kind of forgot about that. I said I was going to fix the proxy, didn't do it, and then we said we're going to add more shows and better search. Added more shows, not better search though. But what do you guys think is most important to focus next?
We have a list of issues, don't we?
Yeah, a lot of issues.
The thing is, I'm at the stage where I'm so full of ideas that I'm about to pick up an issue, and then suddenly I have an epiphany, and I want to try that out, and and then we create more issues, and so we're starting to have a backlog now. So I guess the best thing for me to do would be to just go through that backlog and start actually picking things off from there.
Yeah, I get that. At the same time, it's like, this is not a job, right? Like if there's something you're excited and fun, like you should do that, right?
Yeah.
Do we have any way of like prioritizing the issues? I know that we have labels, but like we can't say that we want A to be before, issue 102 to happen before 109 or 98 or something like that.
I don't think that GitHub has like a severity type thing, do they?
Yeah.
They have milestones, so we could say like, this is what we want to call it version 0.9, and then kind of throw things in there.
So maybe we should, as a community, like give ourselves some targets for, I don't know, 0.01, 0.001, mm-hmm. 0.01, 0.011, and stuff like that, just so that we have direction on what's the most important. But honestly, like if you peel off a ticket or if you are inspired by something and then you go play around with it, is it really that bad of an idea?
I don't think so. Yeah, this is a fun project, right? And keeping it fun will also make it go further as well, because we want to work on it. I was looking into this just now, and maybe it's a bad idea, but we can sort by reactions. So maybe if we have an issue, we can actually go into the issue and not sort the comments that follow up, but the actual issue. So we can give it a thumbs up, and we can then sorted by thumbs up, and that can be a nice way of prioritizing. But that's just a
by plus ones essentially.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. And I'll go ahead and create some basic milestones. Now, numbering things is hard, and like we'll get dragged down. I know we're short on time today, so I don't want to go too much into that. But I'll go ahead and set up some basic milestones so we can talk about version numbers and stuff. But I definitely find like when I go to like present something on the app, or if I'm in a user group or something, I kind of find myself wanting to say like either it's beta or alpha or done or something. I just like be able to say something that gives the person I'm talking to an idea of like where the project is.
Yes. And also we set up the Trello. So there we can make a prioritization in Trello. So like move it to sort in some way there to have some sort of prioritization.
So yeah, you're saying like if we have issues and we know which issues we need to do before we reach a particular stage, or?
No, basically we can like most important issue, we put it in the third column or something. And so we sort it like that. Yeah, that's removing from Git, but it's the solution.
Mm-hmm.
We can look into it.
Yeah, and so rather than having like firm numbers, we can kind of say like, important, or, we can even make a bucket for like nice to have or something. Okay, yeah, I like that. And I know I think DevOps is really important just to kind of get tests in there, make sure that things are like builds are reproducible and people can run things easily. I know I've been slacking on kind of keeping stuff organized, especially with the search stuff. Like right now, it's not easy if someone wanted to kind of take this and go run with it. There's no documentation on how to set it up in a different way or to even run the full thing end to end. Right now, there's a firm dependency on Azure Search. So I think by focusing on testing, it's going to kind of help, because you can't have like unit tests or good tests that are reproducible if they're dependent on outside things. So I think that'll kind of help stabilize things there. And yeah, I don't know. Well, Logan, you've been kind of quiet out there. Is there anything in particular like you'd like to see or you think is important?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still early enough in figuring out the structure of everything that I'm just kind of getting the basics, like you said, figuring out how to run everything independently and get going on that. So I'm really just gonna start trying to build up and add in tests that'll teach myself how the whole system works together.
Do you think there's anything that could be added to like the wiki or the README that would kind of help you, or anything that you've run into that didn't make sense yet?
The Docker overrides I'm just not clear how everything kind of matches together, but my kind of plan was to just write up documentation for myself as I sort it all out, and then I would be able to share that with the group for new people that are coming on.
Nice, and that reminds me, I really want to get. I'm gonna take note to do this today, Vlado. I'm gonna look at making TravisCI actually block the pull request and make sure that that's all good before we merge stuff in. Because I know I'm bad about getting lazy and sliding stuff in too early.
I think I sent you some link how to do it.
Oh, awesome!
You must do it because you are an owner of the project. But basically, you go to settings and you protect master branch to make any. There is some option there. I don't know. I will resend it if you need.
Okay, I can probably get from the history too. I've just been kind of slacking. So I can do that. And actually too, if you guys are on this call, if you send me an email, I'll add you to the Google Analytics account. I'm surprised at how many people are using it. It's not big numbers, but it's still kind of cool to see. I know we're short on time, so I won't jump into that. That's kind of like a whole nother shebang, but I think it's really cool to see that it's actually doing stuff.
Yeah. One more thing I forgot to mention about the UI. It's super tiny, but I remember people complaining about this. On a desktop version, when you're enlarged, so when it's bigger than usual, you used to only be able to click on this little fringe here to get rid of stuff. Now you can click anywhere that's not the search and it will take you back. And it's the same actually with the playlist. So this is all black, the backdrop, and if you click on it, it will take you back. So that's a little nice UX touch, I guess.
Nice.
Yep. Very nice. And yeah, as always, if you think it's something else, go ahead.
Oh yeah, as one other little user experience thing I thought was important. I do think that scrubber is important because podcasts are long, and trying to skip ahead by 30 seconds at a time can be kind of Yeah, and I noticed that if you do like 10 minutes at a time, hitting that 30-second button, it hangs up a little bit, actually a lot of it. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of to take on users and start to like entertain the public at large, so to speak. That may be one little thing to kind of iron out, and then I feel like a lot of these other features are going to kind of find their place down the road.
I never mentioned the obvious yet in this chat, but we need to make queues persist, right? So right now, when you refresh the app, everything's gone. So that's one big thing that I think I can implement quite quickly. It's one of the things that I wanted to do, and then I ended up just on a tangent doing something completely different.
Yeah, we've got a lot of other stuff kind of cooking. I know Dave is working on, Super Good Dave is working on end-to-end tests. And so I think that's a great way to really kind of test those things and make sure that those work. And that's nice to be able to kind of shut down the app and come back. Like that's really hard to do with the unit test. But,
yeah. And also, Logan, you mentioned if you need help for that all Docker things, you can DM me because I made it in a way with the help of Aaron. But
Oh, thank you. I will do that.
yeah, and that's it for me. So if you guys have Twitter info that you'd like to share, it'll be down in the description. We'll get that there. And thank you so much for hopping on, and thanks so much for the help with that. This is amazing.
Yeah, let's take it further. I'm enjoying this.
This is by far the coolest thing I've ever worked on.
Dig it.
Yeah, let's keep it going.
yeah, but nobody got time for it now. We're all in tight schedule.
Yeah.